Hello everybody! So, another day, another Opal. So this one is actually a bit of an interesting piece. So I gave you a quick preview if you watched my last carving. This is a bit of a bonus piece that Paul Pettit gave me because I accidentally overpaid for postage. So I paid like the international rate instead of the domestic one, which is a couple bucks. So he said, you know what, I'll chuck in a little hidden pebble. He did actually chuck it in one of the bags, but I fished it out. I can spot a good opal when I see one. So yeah, you might have seen a lot like it if you would check out Black Opal Direct's videos. Justin carves a lot of rough where you've got this classic white top on it. So white top, fairly dark base, so you can see that there's this weird interesting little tunnel, but ignore that. There's the base there, and it's a fairly dark grey. Maybe when I rub it back a little bit more it might get black, because there is some black just in there. If I can get it to really focus in on that spot. There we go. So you can see there that there's this nice little bit of black and then the colour sits on top of that. So we've got a clear blue colour bar, but if you look just above the blue, there's this little green colour bar, which hopefully isn't just localized to this high point. So we might end up with green, we might end up with blue, we might end up with green and blue. All I'm hoping is that we don't end up with sand, because yeah, we know how that goes. If you've seen my videos or Justin's videos or anyone's videos on opal carving, you know that sand is an absolute heartbreaker and killer. The other thing is with this piece, you can see one side real clear, which is nice, but it's a complete mystery on the other side. We don't know if this colour bar goes all the way through. I can see on this side that the black kind of travels all the way through, so that's good. But we want that colour to sit on the black and we want there to be no sand. This inclusion here is, well, this what used to be sand, which has been tunneled out. That's a bit of a concern to see there, but at least it wasn't on the other side. I don't like this ridge-looking sand pocket effect that's on the back here. That makes me a little bit worried as well, that sand tunnels all the way through. But it's opal, we've got no idea. So the best thing to do is to hit it. And I'm going to start with just grinding off this hidden edge. So I'll just be using a really coarse bit to do that. So I'll grind this back to see where the potch and colour starts. And I'll be back after quickly doing that, and then I'll probably actually film close up me taking off the top of this, because I reckon, even though I don't have wheels, the rotary tool will make it fairly quick through that. But I reckon it might be pretty exciting to see it happen in real time, especially if we can get that green, blue on black. That'll be the dream. One thing we should do to begin with first is actually not get ahead of ourselves and get a quick little rough weight. So it's a fairly large piece, it's 13.5 carats. But I don't know how far the edge has to be taken in just to get to the opal to begin with. But there's, like I said, only one way to find out. We're gonna hit the edges and then I'll be back after that and then we'll take its top off. We're back and I am scared. So, top, nothing special, still the same untouched piece of rough. Actually, I'll dunk this straight away in some water, because as always, helps you see through the fogginess. So, top, untouched. This is that front edge that we could see earlier. I've trimmed it back just a little bit more. I'm a little bit worried about some of these deeper sand spots. Yes, my hands are shaking, the shed is freezing cold, but I'm using warm water to take the edge off a bit. Another sand inclusion in the front face here, but there was something interesting. The camera's not picking it up. there's a little glint of like yellow, orange, red just under that cap, but I can't find the right angle, and I don't think it's going to come up on the camera. Oh, maybe just there. So you're just getting that flash of yellow in that top corner. So maybe it's a bit of a mixed green, yellow kind of colour bar. I'm seeing zero red anywhere though. But yeah, this has me worried. There's a few other things that have me worried. Check out the potch. So you can see here it's that grey, but every now and then you see the black. The black doesn't seem solid, so it's pretty patchy. The other thing that has me scared is the bottom. So this sand is pretty rough. I was thinking about picking it out. What you can do is you can use, so this is from the lab actually, one of my old lab tools. It's a little scoopy spoon that I used to use for the RMS, and a little point at one end. And you can sit there and scrape it out, but we've got a Dremel that can get rid of that pretty quickly and see how deep it goes. I don't really want to go and attack the bottom yet. But continuing our way around the stone, this is the side that we couldn't see. So you can see that this blue colour bar seems to dive underneath some of these patchy little bits of potch. So that's also got me thinking that this might be a bit more complicated than I initially thought. There might be some really good blue there on some black potch, but we're going to have to take its top off and see. The green's still there, just hidden under the edge of that cap. And then we're back to the side that we could see from the beginning. So yeah, the questions are whether these drill all the way through, whether this goes in too far, whether some of these little divots along this edge that goes through here, whether that sand is going to cut the piece in half as well and make me lose half of that. Yeah, there's a lot of question marks. I've got a few concerns, but it wouldn't be Opal if it was easy and clear cut. So now I'm going to take a bit of a close-up shot of this top as we get rid of it. I'm going to use one of my most worn out diamond coated burrs. It's probably worn out to the point where it's, I don't know, maybe somewhere between 150-200 grit, just by judging it with my fingers. And yeah, we're going to take off the top of this really carefully, just taking off the top surface, getting it close to the colour. We might pull fairly short of the colour, and then we'll switch over to a black Nova tip, the coarsest grit Nova tip that I've got, which is a 280, so it is fairly rough. But yeah, let's switch camera angles now. So you saw me take the white cap off and we still have some issues. So if I just zoom. Come on, there we go. So the stone has a nice smattering of green and blues. Camera's finding it hard to focus. But we still had that huge sand spot. Luckily enough, I've picked it out and it doesn't go too deep. I thought, you saw me flip it over at one point when I was carving away, I thought it lined up perfectly with that boy. And I mean, it does line up perfectly with those sandy bits, but I picked at it and it doesn't go all the way. So that's one win. Overall, the opal's a little bit foggy. So I am wondering, by the time I go through this, I might have lost a bit of the green, but we do have that safety net with the blue bar sitting underneath. I think this will be a really wavy, undulating... I'm not going to try to cut a perfect cab or anything from this. This is going to be a bit of an inventive shaped carving, 100%. There's no way around that. It's got these patches of black potch that stick through every now and then, kind of like a cow. Which isn't ideal. It's not what you're really looking for. I'd rather a nice even stone, but it is what it is. And that's how it goes with opal. So what I'm going to do now is switch over to the Nova bit. And we're just going to take off a lot of this real roughness to get a better view of the stone. Because even wet, this is pretty hard to look at. It does have some nice colour, but yeah, the potch is not attractive at all. It's a bit of an unusual one. And we don't like the look of sand, so we're getting rid of that first. So black, 600 grit, Nova tip, gonna drill him out, drill over the whole surface, try to see if we can get that fog to clear up. I don't have high hopes. I think that milky fog is mainly this milky potch. And we're not going to get a flat bed of black at any point with colour on it, I don't think. Maybe if we go all the way down there, but then we've just got this tiny sliver of an opal and I'm not into that. So, we do what we can. There's some bright flashes of green and blue in here and I want to keep them, but we also don't want this. Nonsense. So, time to attack it again. I won't film the attacking part. It's going to be pretty boring and pretty slow. I'm just going to get rid of these little inclusions and you'll see it after that. Well, I've attacked it with a Nova tip and I'm going to pull up short here and just say that this is a rub because I noticed something interesting. So if I can get my bearings... So you can see here, it doesn't show very well on the camera, but I had to go really deep to dig out that sand, and there's still a little bit of a pin there of sand, a little bit of a pinhead size thing. I got concerned that it was something that was tunneling all the way through, and there you can see that it kind of is. So it does go all the way through that tiny little channel. I ground out all of these back holes just to see whether they went through or not out of interest, because the sand just kept going, and yeah, it does kind of just keep going, but only a tiny bit of it. The major concern was, when I held this up to the light, I could notice, you can see it just here, if I grab my pointer, this will do as a pointer, you can see just here, that faint line, it looks like a crack that goes through here and through here, between all those dark pieces of potch in that crystal. There's this faint little crack and I thought, hang on a minute, that doesn't look great. And then I flipped it over. And look at that. The thing's cracked to hell. So it seems like the weakness between the black potch has just cracked all through here, cracked through here, and it just looks a little bit like shattered glass all around here. It seems like anywhere there's that opaque kind of crystal, it's got a crack running through it. Runs through here as well. So yeah, a bit disappointing, but it looks like that this stuff is a lot more fragile than what the black potch is. It's all nicely intact. But yeah, these crystal veins have left fracture points. And you can see in the right lighting, that line just keeps going through. So I think I could easily just tap this with a hammer or something, and all of these separate patches of black pot should come apart completely. So, very disappointing, but at the same time, it's a fairly interesting looking stone. You wouldn't be disappointed to find it as a beginner. It was fun, and I haven't seen potch behave like this before. This is a first for me. Just wherever the black potch finishes is where a nice, clear, defined fracture begins. So I've never seen a opal cut itself into segments like this before. Who knows, I might do a video later on where I see if I can just snap it apart. I might have to cut it a bit deeper, but yeah, it might come back. But for now, I'm going to shelve this one. So, it was a lot of fun, but we're not going to produce a gem out of it. We're going to produce a weird, crackled, cow patchy rub with a nice bit of purple and a nice bit of green over the top. So, that's what you get. That's how the cookie crumbles. Luckily enough, this opal didn't crumble and I spotted it before I went too much further. But yeah, unfortunately, that's where we'll call this one quits. I'll be working on a piece from the Julian rough that I got the other day, because that's got some nice little gemmy stuff, and I'm sure that will be perfectly fine. It doesn't look like it's, well, from what I've looked at, it doesn't look like it's overly fractured or sand shot, so I'm certain we'll get a couple good stones out of that. So I might even rub a couple in a video and then we might polish them later on. Who knows? I'll try to work out whether there's a way to do live streaming, but I don't have a huge audience yet, so I'll probably get one person turn up to the live stream, so we'll put that on hold, but yeah. That'll be it for this one. Hopefully you guys saw something that you haven't seen before as well. I definitely haven't seen this kind of behaviour in an opal before, so it's a good learning experience, and who knows, I might be able to pick it next time something like that's going to turn up. But yeah, I'll catch you in the next video, hopefully in the next couple of days.